Welcome back, everybody. This is Angel Arts, and once again, we are now in session number 16, I can't believe it, of our Dragon Age Intervention campaign. I'm excited because Dragon Age Intervention is, Dragon Age Inquisition's around the corner, and we've been trying to get this done before Inquisition.
Are we going to need a Dragon Age intervention for you at some point?
Probably.
Yeah.
Most likely. So, Ray is back. Lucky Jack should be here momentarily. David told me earlier this morning that he was feeling very sick, so he most likely will not be joining us unless he makes a miraculous recovery. But as I was telling the players, he hasn't missed a single session yet, so I don't think it'll hurt him too much if he ends up missing today. But Ray, since you weren't here for the last session, I am going to ask you the same warm-up question that I asked the players before. And this is probably one of the hardest questions, one of the hardest warm-up questions I've had you guys answer. Pick someone who is an NPC to become infected with the sickness, and pick someone to save from the sickness.
Someone who you do not know is infected yet, but you would be all right if they got infected.
Well, not all right.
It's a hard choice
Well, not all right, but
Someone
yeah.
you're okay. I think I'm okay with you, dying.
It's a hard choice for who I would want to be safe from it. Between three people.
But you gotta pick one.
I know. I'm just gonna say who those: Nathan, Jody, and Archer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Those are the ones I would not want to be infected the most.
Okay.
Yeah, I had a feeling it was going to be the hardest on Gwenail to pick because
Gwenail just wants to save everybody.
Yeah.
But that doesn't always happen. So.
Well, let's see here. Let's move on. Let me come back to that. Let's put a pin in that, right? Okay.
Okay.
Let's see here. And
So-
who would I condemn?
I would think that would be even harder. But if you want to
Yes.
start with that, go right
I mean,
ahead.
Well, actually, it's like a matter of they're both who will I condemn, because one I will save, and I have three that I really want to save. So either way, if I don't choose them, there's a chance I condemn them.
True. Very true.
So it's a kind of a doomed if I do, doomed if I don't.
That's the point.
yeah.
That's exactly the point.
I'm so sorry, David. If for when you watch this later, Plim.
Plim. Okay.
Plim is fun and stuff and stuff, but
Plim's already infected with lycanthropy. Another infection.
Plim's a werewolf too, so
He's-
he's probably really hardy. I
That's
imagine
true.
He's,
Yeah.
He's a
he might
werewolf, I'm
last
sure.
he might last the longest. Who knows how dragon blood would affect
he
him?
might also be more difficult to treat because he's a werewolf.
True. Yeah.
I don't. I'm a doctor, not a veterinarian.
Okay, so Plim was your choice for condemning, so who are you
I'm
saving?
sorry. I have to put the dog down. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
Okay. Oh God, Archer. My family screwed him over. So I almost want to pick him.
Because you
But
feel
then
bad.
again-
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's a good friend and whatnot, and I think there's been actually surprisingly a bit of brotherly bond. They're both half elves and stuff. Both knew my horrible father. But Jody was his best friend, and Nathan was his constant companion and whatnot,
Yep.
and his first love.
Yep.
So,
Such a tough choice.
choice.
Oh my gosh.
out of curiosity, who did you guys
Nope.
say they could want?
Nope.
Hey,
Nope.
Oh, come on! I would have been there to hear that last time.
Yeah, but because of I'll tell you this. For the people that they would condemned, all three of them chose the same person, and that I don't want to sway your decision because they say, and it's one of those three people is the one that every other person condemned. So,
Yeah.
and I don't want that to sway your choice. So,
that and technically, who was the guy who went first last time? Was that Dave who went first?
yeah,
Mhm.
Yes, technically, Dave had to go first without hearing anyone's opinion. So
gotta make a choice.
I don't want to stuff Jodie in the refrigerator, so I'm gonna save her.
Okay. I think out of the four of you, three of you, including you, chose Jody to save.
Yep.
Lucky Jack, well, not Lucky Jack, Delwyn, Lealden, and Maximilian all condemned Archer. All three of them did. So, which I found
Why
interesting.
would you guys do that?
Because.
And then it just so happened that Archer was with you guys when Chestiel was summoned again, so Archer got infected. So.
But now
Yep.
there's gonna be someone else.
But now
on
there's
top
somebody
of
else
him.
on the ship. So.
So much anger and stuff.
You're probably
You
gonna.
went over some of this to me with some of everything like that and stuff, such as I think you told me that Delwyn told me to check his blood.
Yeah.
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 But
and I checked him, and then I punched him in the face. Can we
they
go to that
left
thing? Punched
before
him-
he could even give you an explanation, so you're gonna have to punch him when they get back.
Yeah.
So I didn't even have a chance to do that and stuff. So wait. So I check your blood. And it's like you have dragon blood. I was holding that back.
We'll get to Gwenail very, very, very shortly. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So.
Oh yeah. I keep on forgetting that.
So, you guys are now in the deep roads, and you are rushing your way back. You were able to acquire. It took some time, but you were at least able to get a good number of samples of the volcanic aurum. That was the deposits of which were on that island surrounded by lava, and it takes you about another day-ish to return back to the gates into the deep roads. Kine is still with you. During this time, Sunia is there as well. And she, for the most part, is going to remain silent unless anyone wishes to speak to her.
Well, there wasn't much of catching up, so as they're heading back, Delwyn's gonna kind of nudge his sister and get her attention.
Oh yeah. Huh.
Okay.
So, the Grey Warden thing, when that happened?
She said, shortly after I had a few disagreements on the way that my chapter of the Templars did things. Shortly after Liam came back from the alienage. Don't misunderstand me, though, brother. I'm still very much a believer in the Maker, but that doesn't mean I necessarily agree with the way all of the Maker's followers behave.
And frankly, I'm glad you're not that close-minded. But speaking of Liam, ran into him.
Really now? Just this once, she says. I told myself that the next time I saw him, I just wanted to give him a swift kick in the face.
Ew.
Yeah, probably not gonna be able to do that.
Oh? Let me guess. You did it for me, dear brother.
No.
She finally notices the expression on your face, and she says, "What happened?"
Went and got himself killed, saving a child when the archdemon attacked our ship.
She steps back when you say that, and she says, "Okay, there were three things in that sentence. Three things in that sentence that didn't sound right. He got himself killed, rescuing a child when the archdemon attacked you?"
Yeah.
Look at that.
You have been busy.
Very, very busy.
If you wouldn't mind, I just happened to overhear. I have a question for you. There's been a lot of sentimental feelings going around about people dying and disconnection and that sort of thing. But if your plan is to get back in time, why do you care so much?
There's still people. And still doesn't remove the fact that it hurts.
It hasn't happened yet, she says. Not that I don't trust in your abilities, brother. It's just, well... Do you even think that... How do you know that this ritual, per se, is even going to work? Or even work the way you expect it to be? It sounds like all of you are a little bit in over your heads with all of this.
We've been in over our heads since we got here. We've learned how to hold our breath. So, besides, there's a very smart person in charge of all this, so he'll figure it out.
How do you know if you go back and change things that it's actually going to be even better than it is now? How do you know you're not even going to make things worse?
Well, won't know until we do it.
Liam, she says. There are so many things wrong with that kid. Can't believe he's gone, though.
A lot of things, and a lot of those things I kind of put him through, but, you know, in the end, you know, he did what was right. Made up for the other things that he did. And now I don't hate him.
Stubborn as he was, he always tried to do what he believed was right. I'll give him that, at least. Of course, I do the same thing, and the problem is we normally clashed when that happens.
Yeah.
How did you find out about Mother and Father?
Well, I saw it.
You saw her? You mean you saw Mom?
I saw Mom in the circle, yeah. She told me.
At this point, Sunia looks down on the ground, and there's a air of guilt around her face. She says, "It's been a while since I came to visit her."
Oh, wouldn't hurt to go say hi, I guess.
She hasn't lost her memory, though. Recognizes me every time I arrive.
As for knowing about Dad, well, I kind of saw that when I had a wonderful trip to the Fade. So, that was fun.
You've been to the Fade?
Mm-hmm.
We've got a lot of catching up to do.
Yeah.
Things here have been a mess, as you've seen. I joined the Order, the Grey Wardens, shortly before things got really crazy with the Blight. We all were in Ostagar, gathering our forces to try to nip this Blight from getting worse in the bud. Fortunately, we didn't succeed.
Yeah.
Myself and a few others were the only ones who managed to survive Ostagar. We tried our best to try to gather our forces, try to unite for Eldon, to take a stand against the Blight. But everyone seemed to have their own problems that were more important that they needed to deal with first. And so, here we are.
Yeah, seems these days everybody's looking out for themselves.
And all of these companions of yours, they're all involved in this how?
Well,
many of us were just sort of tossed into this mostly unintentionally, but all the same, we plan to do our part to fix this.
as for Kine, I mean, he's got his own story to tell, so... Met him just outside, so, yeah.
Well, it's a good thing I ran into you and heard about you and our brief meetings before, lady. Quite handy you showed up when you did. Were you just skulking around and just happened to come across the battlefield with the oogly booglies? Were you following us?
Not at all, she says. Then again, I'd like to believe that the Maker guides me to where I should be at any given point in time. He works in mysterious ways. I don't question it too much. Listen, brother, she says. It's been a long time since we last spoke.
Yep.
For a while, I thought you were dead. I'm still quite puzzled about that. I didn't want our last meeting to be the last memory, the last things that we said to each other.
What did we say to each other?
At best, we agreed to disagree. But I think in reality, it was a little bit more heated.
Sounds about right.
On hindsight, I think we were both stubborn.
Well, we're family. Makes sense.
The apple doesn't fall too far.
No.
I kind of wish that our union was under different circumstances. You know why I was in the deep roads.
I've heard.
Don't have much time.
Yeah.
Unlike you seem to have all the time in the world, though.
Huh. It seems to me more like time's actually slipped through my fingers.
I don't know how all of this works. But if it looks like that means that we have a second chance, I'd like to believe everything happens for a reason. Even if that reason is to redo things all over again.
If I could point out just one thing, I think I overheard you saying that you needed a Grey Warden to kill the Archdemon.
This is true.
How about her?
Are you so why kind? She says with a grin. Are you that quick to get rid of me so soon?
I thought you've been trying to get rid of yourself these past few months. Figure I might as well do it in pursuit of these things.
The thought had crossed my mind. I think I would much prefer that way of leaving this world as opposed to wasting away down in the deep roads. Probably a lot more scenic, at least.
Yeah.
What? You don't like rock and fire and rock and rock and more rock and more rock and then, a bit of undead and then, more rock? It's not scenic to you?
Kind, always charming as ever. Sunia blushes a little bit. Delwyn, you kind of gathered. Roll an insight for me, please, Delwyn. Delwyn, you have a slight feeling that your sister has taken a liking to Kine. Although pride says that she probably won't admit it to anybody's face.
He just kind of elbows his sister a couple times and gives her a look, kind of a grin.
What? She says.
Nothing.
What?
Just, you should come with us, It's a lot less lonely than the rock and the lava and the rock, and Darkspawn don't make good company, and...
Well, if the archdemon seems to be chasing after you, I suppose I probably should be there to keep you out of trouble.
Keep me out of trouble? Maybe you should keep this star metal stealing dwarf out of trouble.
Stealing? She says as she turns to Kine.
Not stealing. Well, yeah, stealing. It was stealing. But it was for the greater cause. And you'll get it back. Like I said, we had to deal with Branka. It's not easy.
Branka. Yes. How is the steel bat? She asks.
Well, she's getting bigger and bigger. Well, not a good way. It's hard to say.
Aren't you still under good graces with her, though, Kine?
Well, that's right, but however long that lasts, our moods are pretty volatile.
There aren't very many of you dwarves left, are there?
Not left with flesh.
I've been seeing less and less of them as I've been traveling in the deep roads. Even the Legion of the Dead have all been transformed into golems.
Which kind of defeats the purpose of it, isn't it?
That's what I figured. Of course, you know me, I try to stay away from the affairs of Orzammar. As long as they stay away from my hair, I'll stay out of their affairs.
Well, it's nice to see you around sometimes.
Why, thank you. You, are... It's pleasant to run into you as well from time to time, she says. And she looks in the other direction.
It's a surprise. I expect you to be dead every time I come down here. But you just keep on kicking.
Flattery will get you nowhere, kind, she says.
It got me quite far, actually.
Ah! I'm sure, she says. Lealden, are you doing anything? Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead, kind.
Me?
Well, yeah, I was about to turn to him and ask, so what's our plan here? Well, I know we got to return the Branka, but you want to just lickety split out of here with your metal, or you want to stay and help us deal with her?
If it would help. This seems more like a personal problem.
Well,
but you did help us get in and out, and certainly helped us in that fight.
plus, I mean, we're gonna have to get access to that anvil daily anyway. Gotta help Vic.
It's gotta be like... But I don't know, but I'm not educated in...
Sunia pipes up. You're going to be turning one of your friends into a golem?
Oh, it's either that or he croaks. Don't have much choice, really.
It's at this point that you guys arrive at the front gates of Orzammar. The golems that are at the gate allow you inside. And when they see your the volcanic aurum deposits that you've collected, they nod in approval, and they will allow you passage without question. Where do you guys go from here?
Okay. You should go and drop off some of that aurum, and we'll just be able to say that she'll probably want it all if you bring it to her.
Yeah. Better to keep some of it on us. Make her think like we didn't bring as much back as we did. Probably for the best. And we should probably let Gwenail know we're back too, so he can get Vic ready.
Leave it with your friends. Don't bring it with you.
One of the golems calls out to Sanaya and he says, Grey Warden, know that you are only allowed here because Branka demands it for the time being. Sanaya says, I am completely aware of the rules and regulations for Grey Wardens here in Orzammar, Golem. I will not be in anyone's hair, I assure you. As she turns around, not that any of you have any hair left to begin with.
Catty, nice.
It's good to know being a Templar, you haven't lost your sense of humor.
Isn't it nice?
You need it after dealing with Liam all the time.
Yeah.
Fool decided to go and get himself killed. Are you going back to Gwenail? I'm sure Ray will appreciate that.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
You guys will go
Probably
back.
he's probably sitting in the church right now, pacing back and forth.
Where are they? All right, so you guys
There
make
was an
your
amusing cutscene though that I saw there.
you guys make your way back to the chapel, and Gwenail is probably there with his arms folded, tapping his foot, eyeing
Quick
at
question.
Delwyn.
Quick question: did I already do the examination of blood, like when I was
Yes.
there, or huh?
Yes, you
So
did.
did I do the examination of blood while they were gone, or did I do the examination of blood while she, when Delwyn gave it to me? Because that probably would have taken time. So I'm just curious, did I wait or?
You technically knew before they left, and you basically were like, "I'm going to do it with you later," because I think the explanation is you were just so concerned about keeping them alive that this new information about Delwyn had to wait. because right now Archer was in critical condition and you needed to get the blood transfusion going. So if you want to give your actual reaction to Delwyn, this is probably a good time.
So you get back and whatnot?
You get back.
Yep.
What is Gwenail doing when you arrive?
I have to be like pacing when they're tapping foot. I run up to a hug Delwyn and it's like, I'm glad you're safe. And then I punch him in the face. And that is for drinking the dragon blood!
Ow! Do you have to say it that loud?
Sunia, after seeing Gwenail punch Delwyn in the face and his reaction, turns to Delwyn and says, "Old boyfriend, brother?
Not quite.
New boyfriend?"
Little hazy on that.
He goes up and then heals your face.
You sure as hell don't hit like an Orlasian.
I don't know if I should hit you or not for that one, but I guess
Compliments. Compliments.
my mother was a Ferelden warrior, so maybe I get it from her.
Probably. Ah, my jaw's gonna feel that in the morning.
Well, these are the heroes of time and space, and all our hopes rest on them.
Okay.
Gwenail, by the way, while they were out, you've been monitoring Archer's vital signs, and he's actually been recovering over the last couple of days. Vicious Vick is still deteriorating fast. You don't think he's going to last another day. So.
Alright, so I would actually relate it to them. Anyways, enough of that. Archer is doing better. But I suspected Vicious is doing... He's not as lucky.
Well then. I guess we shouldn't sit here twiddling our thumbs.
No. We should get to action. You guys managed to recover a good amount of volcanic golem?
Yep.
So what's the plan from here? We still have things to do with this, and they're still vicious. So how do we want to proceed?
Oh,
Let me
that's a
go
good
check with my
question.
friends to see if the Star Metal Andraste statue is done, and then maybe we
sorry.
can make a deal.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, just keep I love it sounds like a Glaswegian accent or something you're doing. It's Scottish or whatever.
Sometimes it's hard to. I was bouncing around earlier. It wasn't.
Yeah, you were bouncing around. I was confused, but it sounds pretty solid, like you're trying to do kind of a Glaswegian Scottish accent or something.
Oh, that's right. My best effort is what as I can do.
No, I love it.
One of my godparents is one of my grandparents is Scottish, and I love listening to her talk.
I hope I do it justice. Probably won't, but maybe little moments here and there that'll be.
You bounced into an Australian territory earlier, which threw me off completely. But yeah, it's good. It's good. Okay, sorry, composure.
Okay.
So I was gonna go check in with the group of resistance people who were making the replica of the star metal
Sure.
that we could use to pollute and contaminate Branka.
Okay. You will arrive. You're going on your own? Kind?
Unless anyone wants to come.
I could show up since I haven't had much screen time yet.
Okay.
As good a reason as any.
Lealden, you will accompany Kine.
In London for screen time purposes.
Kine will take you down into Dust Town. It's essentially the slums of Orzammar. But there's going to be a abandoned house, or at least it looks like it's abandoned, that Kine takes you. He goes over into the back, and he goes to this. It appears like it's some sort of basement entrance. Gives the door a knock once, 3 times, and then he knocks down in one of the lower panels twice. And then after that, The door slowly opens. You see a dwarf with a heavily tattooed face open the door, and the dwarf says, "Cain, you've returned."
Hey, and I brought some others with me.
"Aye, a big some others," he says, looking up at the Kunari.
Yeah, they're all big. But you
Yes.
should hear. Well, remember I told you about them and their sort of mission quest, as insane as it sounds.
Who actually is with him? Lealden and who else?
I'm still a little bit confused on what we established we were going to do, actually, but I didn't want to interrupt.
I don't know. I heard something. I literally I heard someone mention something about turning someone into a golem, and then we're going now to get this. Or we're going to collect the fake star medal. I guess do something with Branka, and then come back and.
So I think the overarching goal here is you came to Orzammar to get the volcanic arum.
Yes.
You got that.
Got
Now
that.
you have a sick guy, and the only way you think you can save him is by putting him into a golem body. The only way you can put him into a golem body.
He's a golem, isn't he? When I think about it, he's big for a dwarf, isn't he?
He is.
So he's going to be a big golem, isn't he?
Most likely.
Sorry, that was just a random thought. Okay, yeah. So put him into a golem body, which.
But the problem is that the Ample of the Void is being held by Branka, and you can't really get access to it unless either she's defeated, which is my resistance group's idea, or if we just bribe her with volcanic aurum and then take the guy. So it's kind of a discussion of order of operations here. Do we just try and defeat her and pollute her form, or that might be really risky, or just do the aurum trade for the golem body first.
And meanwhile, the clock is ticking for Vic. So whatever you guys decide to do, whatever you decide to do, it can't take too long.
And actually, then I would go because I want to know a little bit more about this resistance.
Well, if stuff goes wrong, we're gonna need our star medal back anyway, so that's gonna need to be a priority.
Yeah. So, because that would paint exactly what's going on. So, who's going to take over after Branka's gone and whatnot? Not that she's running things well, as far as I can tell. So, point. Okay. Would I even know that? I don't know. I don't really know if I've gotten informed about the whole plan. So.
Yeah, Kine hasn't informed you on the dwarf side of the plan. Only to take out Branka is the goal.
That's all we know about that, is to take out Branka.
Yep.
Right.
All right. Then yeah, this warrants more looking into to figure out the best course of action. So I would probably accompany back there, so we can figure out the plan, as we still have a few distinctive possibilities.
Sanaya is going to mention, once you take out Branka, though, what's going to happen to the rest of the golems or the dwarves? Who's going to take over? The dwarves have been an autocratic, I think is the right term, society since the beginning of time, as far as I knew.
We have a proper inheritor.
And that would be?
Yeah.
He points, he'll point down into the basement where the dwarves are.
Okay.
Resistance group is.
All right. And you're positive that the golems will comply willingly once Branka is usurped?
No.
So what would be a good plan in case they're not as...
Well, this isn't really a fight, and if you're going back and settling this through time travel and whatnot, then it really doesn't matter what we do here. So it probably would be best for you to get your friend taken care of, and we can wait to take care of Branka until you're gone.
Sounds like the best course of action.
Perhaps.
I suppose we best get moving then.
Okay, so this was the conversation you had before.
Right.
So now you're at the
Understand.
resistance. So all of you are coming with? All of you?
Oh,
No,
no,
I'm-
I guess Maximilian will stay behind with Vic and Archer.
Yeah, he would want to keep an eye on them.
Okay. Okay, so now you're at the resistance. The dwarf allows you inside. You go in, and there is a long spiral staircase that takes you down. You go down probably a good 7 stories, 7 flights of stairs, until you finally emerge into a large chasm where there seems to be a very small community of dwarves of various ages, most of them various ages ranging from some newborns, actually, up to more elderly dwarves.
Oh my goodness, dwarfish children are so small.
They fatten up pretty quick.
Gotta say, there's actually more of you here than I thought.
The dwarf, well, it's still compared to, you're under the assumption that this may very well be the last of the dwarves in all of Thedas. Very
And
possibly.
even then, considering
Well, not all of it. It's the surface dwarves
That's
all
true.
over.
There are surface dwarves,
considering
but I guess
Delwyn's view and how he interacted with Branka, he expected pretty much almost everybody to be wiped.
yeah.
So even seeing more than 4 is a surprise.
The resistance have been able to somehow keep out of Branka's eye, but it's been tough, and they have lost several people along the way. So the dwarves down here many of them are very nervous around newcomers. It's very hard for them to trust anyone who isn't a dwarf, much less a golem. But since they are currently with Kine, they are not going to question any of you, especially since you happen to have a Great Warden with you as well, which they seem to respect. So, Kine, you will go and ask one of the one of the sages there how things are coming along, and one of them will explain to you that they managed to get the best that they could of a replica. They might be able to come up with something more convincing if they kept at it for another day, but what they have now could suffice.
I don't think we have that much time left. These people have a dire need, and they've helped us this far. I think I could sell it to her. You've done good.
The sage will say, Kine, you realize, though, that if this does not fool the queen, your life will be in grave danger.
I've lived with my life in danger for quite a while now. It doesn't bother me, nor. And given these folks' story, it doesn't really matter, it seems, if they succeed.
Okay? They will take you into a side room, and they will present you the replica. Just by looking at it with...
Me.
I'm sorry?
Gwennael also speaks under his breath. Something bothers me. A little bit. No, it's a bit later. Let's move on with this right now. I'm still pondering this out.
Looking at the 2 statues with the naked eye, you wouldn't be able to tell which was which, the fake or the original. Possibly, if you took a much better look at it under a magnifying glass of sorts, you might be able to notice. But just from the naked eye, looks exactly the same.
And she keeps you to be able to make things like this for her?
No, she keeps me to get things like this for her, to dispose of people. Keep an eye on the world above is really my role.
Mm.
I was actually on my way to Redwall to get Redwall. Is that what it's called? Redcliffe. Not the place with the little animals. No, different
No.
place.
I was thinking of that book. I haven't seen the book. I haven't read that book series in forever.
on my way to Redcliffe to find the star metal, but you all happened to do it for me. Much appreciated.
Yeah.
Loop. Sorry, that's the thing that the jewelers use to look for stuff. It's like a lupe or something. A loop.
Yes.
Huh.
Okay.
Well, she's gonna be wanting this, but maybe the volcanic arm can really distract her for a day or two. Time enough to get your friends and access. Well, I would be remiss if I didn't ask for your help in overthrowing her, but I know your priorities are different, and you've got a greater mission at hand, I suppose.
I honestly, after I've been thinking about it, I think I want to help with this. I want to help with this. Something has been bothering me for some time. Whether we fix this or not, how do we know how time works? What if we do all of this and we go back and fix it, but everything that has happened here has still happened? We just save ourselves from it happening from the time that we know.
Well,
I was thinking about that theoretically. It's possible that what we do in the past could somehow perhaps make another world altogether. So whatever we fail to do here is just another chance to leave a world forsaken. We keep on trying to set things right, and yes, we will set things right for how we know and how we should do it, but how do we know how to affect the people here? What?
Like, you mean like having two books set in the same world, but the stories are different?
Yes, exactly. They start out the same, but something changes in the beginning, and the book goes down a different route. But the other one goes down a much darker route. It's something that I've been thinking about for some time, and it's coming to the fruition of thought. With that being said, if that's a possibility, I want to do as much as I can in this world before we go back, on the off chance that we're leaving these people to this fate.
Sometimes I hate it when you're right. Who am I kidding? 90% of the time I hate it when you're right.
I was going to say, good thing it's only sometimes you hate it when I'm right. 90% is still good. I guess 10% it's a door.
Sanaya pipes up. Go ahead, Kine. Go ahead.
I definitely would accept your help if we got it. It's only kind of a hope that we have that this metal will work, that Branka won't see through it, and she'll combine it with her current, whatever her next upgrade is. This tainted metal should put her down, but we're not sure.
Sanaya says, I don't think you all should be putting so much pressure on yourselves. No matter what happens, we wouldn't be any worse than we were now.
But we could help make things better. We have a chance to do so.
That is also true.
Well, I mean, as long as we can get Vic and Archer back. I mean, the guardsmen won't like it, but, once Vic's a golem, maybe he can take him back to the ship and we can do what we can here.
Further question. If depending how we do this, will Branka just let us walk out with a Kunari dwarf golem? She, as far as I understand, does not seem the type of lady to let something like that just walk away from her.
Well, she did say she'd have a new golem edition, so yeah, I think she wants to keep it.
That sounds about right, Sanaya says. If you go with this procedure, I think that Her Majesty will expect to keep your friend within Orzamar's walls.
He will be alive, though.
He would be alive.
But if you remember what Maximilian said last session, she can try. is what
Yes.
he said last
Yeah.
session. She can try.
Well, we don't necessarily have to get Vic out of here right away. I mean, let's face it, he'll be a golem. Might be useful.
Yes. In the end, it should be up to him, and I don't want Branka being the one to do that. I'm sure he'd want to return to the ship to the captain. Also, question: how does the captain feel about him being a golem?
Captain doesn't know.
Yeah, that's going to be a surprise.
If
isn't
you
it?
remember from that one session, the captain was very hesitant to even allow you to take her first mate with you in the first place, especially in the state that the ship was in. And I believe Maximilian gave her his word that he would ensure that they brought Vicious back in one piece.
He'll come back in more pieces.
He'll come back in interchangeable pieces.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be alive, so at least there's that.
Yes.
Assuming you can bring him back.
It's gonna be tricky.
Out of character, how golems affected by magic?
Golems are actually quite vulnerable to magic. They are very resistant against physical weapons.
Oh, okay. So, okay, that explains my next thing. If we do help you take Branka down, golems are not very strong against magic. If I remember my lore well, we do have two pairs of magic.
Which is a lot more than dwarves normally have, because dwarves aren't able to cast magic.
Yep.
We got some resistance to it normally, mostly in the befuddling type. But I think you're right. Golem would fall to pieces with the right kind of magic put onto it. Though Branka's been working quite hard to make that not a possibility.
I see. Do you know how much progress she's made in that?
Well, she's been upgrading for quite a while now, and I think that's why she wanted a star medal.
Yeah,
To make it so.
Kine, you believe that one of the things that Branka mentioned you that the star metal should buy her and other golems made with star metal is heavy resistance to magic.
Alright, so question, if you make a fake poisonous star metal, is this going to exacerbate her weakness to magic?
That was the idea.
Most likely, yes.
Then us being here is fortuitous. No.
Seems like.
Well then, shall we go present it to her? She'll probably be quite eager to use it, but it'll take her some time.
Yeah.
Perhaps she'll give us permission to go use the Anvil of the Void while she's currently using that star metal.
And then we turn the tables on her.
At long last, yes.
Sounds like fun.
I always read so many great stories back in the day about revolutions. I always kind of felt it would be fun to be a part of one. Alright.
On your
Justice.
way out of the resistance, Kine, one of the dwarven children, probably about 4 years old, runs up to you and he holds up his arms, looking like he's trying to give you a hug.
So small and chubby.
I'll grab him up.
The boy will wrap his arms around your neck and give you a big hug. And he will whisper to your ear and says, "Good luck, Kine."
Thanks, Loris. You've always been my biggest fan. We're going to make it so that you've got a world with real people, not golems. You stay back. You pray to the ancestors, and we'll be back soon.
He nods with his hand in his mouth. Okay, you guys leave the resistance and you make your way back to the Diamond District to go see Branka once again.
I forgot how obvious all these district names were. Dust District, the Dust District, or the Diamond District. Okay, I get it. This is the fancy one. This is the...
Yeah. You are able to get the golems will let you in to the palace. Once again, you are taken to the throne before Her Highness herself. Branka is already waiting for you. She rises when you arrive, and as soon as she sees you and I'm assuming you have like bags or sacks or something to carry the aura in,
Yeah.
something to carry, some receptacle to keep the aura in. And he says, "Kine, you have returned. Rather quickly. Very impressive. Please, I trust that you did not come empty-handed."
Of course not, my Iron Lady. I have two great gifts for you. We have the star metal acquired, and thanks to the help of these people, some volcanic autumn, which I think would be especially nice. Nice little tint on your armor for sure.
The star metal at last. She walks over towards your directions, her footsteps causing the entire room to shake as she walks. It's a little hard for you to keep your balance, but you manage.
I'll hold the statue up in the air.
Massive thing, isn't she?
You hold up the statue, and she picks it up using her two of her fingers. She holds it up and puts it up to her face. "It is just as beautiful and magnificent as I imagined it would be," she says. "Well done, Kine. You indeed will be well rewarded for your efforts."
It's ever my pleasure to serve your highness. I do have a bit of thanks, I think, on behalf of these people. They have a friend who is quite ill and wishes to be made a golem to serve in your illustrious halls till the end of his days. Is that something you would be so gracious to grant as a boon and thanks for their assistance in acquiring this?
Ah, yes, I remember such a proposal. In fact, seeing how you also were able to acquire the volcanic aurum, I think your friend would be the perfect guinea pig for utilizing this new metal in our latest procedure. It will be actually a great experiment in order to also utilize the process in which we will be using the star metal itself. Most excellent.
In our Legion, that could work out very well, actually.
"Bring your friend here," she says, "and we will be able to begin the process at once. In the meantime," she takes the star metal and she opens up a compartment in her chest, creaks open. She stuffs the star metal into her chest and she pops it closed. She pops it shut.
You don't want to know what else she keeps in there. It is ever a pleasure to serve, my lady. Is there anything else I can do for you?
I think you have done more than enough, Kine. As of tomorrow, she says, we will be providing you your new body. Well, you will be resurrected anew to join in the ranks of the rest of your brothers and sisters. And together we will be able to regain the greatness and majesty that is the dwarves for all time.
It is my singular wish and desire, my queen.
With that, if you are done with her, she will dismiss you, and you are welcome to bring Vicious Vick up to her whenever you wish.
Probably would have had a Sunia fetch him.
Whew.
Well, that doesn't do quite exactly. I knew she would have a twist. She's going to use and test that star metal on your friend.
The star metal? I thought she was going to use the aurum on him.
She's going to use the aurum
Okay.
first.
So,
What exactly would happen? I'm assuming we're out of earshot of her.
Yeah, you can be out of the palace by this point.
Would be in there.
What would happen if an impure or substitute ore was used?
Well, Our goal was to weaken her, that perhaps even the plates would fall apart. Her golemness would disintegrate into pieces, and we could just simply finish the job with some traditional iron and steel. But as you're saying, it has some sort of magical property. We've never used it before. It's experimental in all ways, so
Okay.
it's just kind of our last desperate hope.
Out of character, I misunderstood the scenario earlier a little bit, but okay, now I got that back in character.
Out of character, you guys have a feeling if you brought Cogs with you, he would be able to answer more of your questions.
Yes.
But like I said, when you
now,
replay this campaign again, you can choose different. You can make different choices. Great
Reload!
Great replay value. Reload. Great replay value. Anyway, go ahead.
If she's going to
wouldn't that be nice?
if she's going to test the star metal on him, then that could go unwell for obviously Victor and our plan. But if we could find a way to make her not use it on him, to trick her not to do that, or to think that
What she was implying was that the process in which they were going to utilize the volcanic aurum is going to be similar to the process that they're going to be using with the star metal. So they would essentially be killing two birds with one stone. They would be testing the volcanic aurum as well as testing the process that they will be using for the
I
star
can't imagine
metal.
that Branka would want to waste her precious star
Correct.
metal.
Branka
Okay.
sounds like the kind of person that she would be so confident in this metal, she would test it on herself.
okay.
Yeah, so we're in.
So I've misunderstood 3 times now.
We don't know
Okay.
what the Orm's gonna do, but I mean, if we don't do it, he's as good as dead, so...
I honestly don't. I don't understand this type of stuff. I need to go to the library.
To the library.
Kine, I don't know if there is a library left in Orzammar that you were aware of. Oh gosh, what was that building? The building where you, in Origins, where they have the, what is it called? The thing of memories? The
Right.
something of memories?
Yep.
All of those books and stuff were taken. Branka took all of those, so the thing of memories building is completely empty.
There's a few rune etchings left, but pretty much everything in as far as paper and that's concerned is tied up with Branka. She took all of it, said what need do golems have of reading, and she's pretty right about that.
No, that's completely rubbish. I mean, just because you're big, clunky, smashy things, man, does not mean you can't be well read. There's always power to be gained from knowledge.
Yeah, and I think that's the problem.
Oh, right. Totalitarian.
Wild and crazy, movements and revolutions, and oh no, the golems are thinking for themselves.
We are legion.
Perhaps she would permit us, because we have no, qualms or revolution or whatever. We just want our stuff to get handled and get out of it. We just wanted the aurum. So perhaps she would let me use the library. Just as a scholarly interest, and it is just to see how it will affect. And it is mostly just to see how it affects our friend.
She's
want to
letting
give
us
him
use the anvil. I think if we ask for anything more, she might stomp us under her big metal boot.
If I can convince her that I am quite well read in many different arts.
Trust me, she does not want your life story.
Oh no, I'm just saying. Perhaps I can convince her to let me look at it, and I can give her even more information. And obviously, she hasn't really looked into much of what this stuff does. I could give her particular answers, maybe.
Well, maybe if she has the books and she's read them, there might not be any answers.
She's seeming more machine than person anymore. I don't know if there'd be anything to reason with.
Other
She's
than
not exactly the best conversation partner.
She's likely quite enthralled with her new acquisition. It's unlikely she'll want to be conversing with uplanders and surface dwellers like yourselves. No
what
offense.
about
Yeah.
what about back at your base? Do you have any literature left? I'm sure you guys must have managed to save something.
We have 3 books.